I'm writing a paper on a topic of gender roles, and it's for the class of women's studies. So if I'm normally doing research, the first thing I would probably do is go on Google and Google what my topic is. I use Google because I feel like it's more reliable than any other search engine. So, and I'm gonna do gender roles from the 1920s. So the first thing I usually do, I look for something that catches my eye, like as its title, even though it's all about gender roles. I'm looking for something that's gonna stand out. So it says women in the 1920s. So that seems like, so first I'm gonna skim. I'm not gonna really read all the information. So I'm trying to look for things that are like, okay, that's important. 19th Amendment, women's suffrage. So it has like keywords that are bolded. So that's what I'm really looking at. Then if it seems interesting, I'll go back and I'll use this as part of my research for my paper. So the 19th Amendment, that's a big part. So then what I probably would do is, so since this website actually was good, I'd either like copy sections and email it to myself or email myself the link. So later when I'm actually going back to do my paper, I have the website. Um, so, and usually if I find like one or two really good websites, I probably don't go search many other places. The internet's mainly main research. Um, And then what I do usually is after I get like three good websites, I'll keep those and then I'll go review their information. But I won't add too many because then it gets like contradictory, some too many different inputs. So I try to limit my resources to about like three different sites. Um, Usually I'll get rid of a source if it turns out like if I read something on two different sites and this one is like completely inaccurate, it's like okay, well that's not reliable, so I gotta find another source and get rid of that one. So the next place I'd go after I go on Google, okay, find a good website. Usually how like there's links connected to it, I might go to those sites too, because then they're all gonna be pretty much on the same page. So 19th Amendment is all about women's right to vote, so go on there. I only use Google though. I don't use Bing or any of those other ones. I feel like they come up with too many unnecessary. Or even sometimes if I'm doing a study, I might open Word and then jot some stuff down. So make like bullet points of important stuff like 19th Amendment, women's suffrage, all that's included during women's roles, gender roles in general. Stuff about like political things include too. So it's just like key things that were going on. I'd add that in there too, making a list. Then what I'm gonna do, because it's not like only gender roles for the women, it's gonna be for the men too. So I'll probably make subcategories. Then under my subcategories, I'm gonna use different blood points. So women were expected. So I'm gonna open both at the same time so I can jot this stuff down while I type. So they're expected to stay. So now as I'm typing, like I'm just looking for things that are catching my eyes. I skim, like I'm still not reading in very much detail, but I'm reading more than when I first pull up the site and say, okay, I'm going to use this one. So then I started looking deeper into the information. So really, once I find my sources, I use Google for my sources, and then when I found my source, it was .org, so that means it's more reliable. So it just made it even more like, okay, I'm definitely using this one. Okay, let's see. Since I was mainly just women's gender roles, I'm gonna do men roles. The 1920s. I'm gonna change my keywords, what I'm searching with, so get a little more specific about what I'm looking for. Then when the site came up, it said 1920s role of women and men, so it seems like okay, it's gonna be one site that has everything that I need. Women gain political power. And then as I'm going doing my research, I'm adding key things that I know already based on the topic. So even if it's just a general thing, I'm going to add in something for my personal. So when I'm going back looking at my information, it's like, okay, well, that's already, known. So I don't need to be repetitive. And when I'm jotting my information down, I'm not writing down like the whole paragraph, even though it all might be important. I'll just write down like a key phrase or something that's going to help me, remember exactly what I was reading when I was gathering that information. So it's like, okay, that's my reference point, just to keep my mind on it. Then it talks about the men, so that's since this site was kind of informative, I would keep this one and email it to myself as well. So I just keep going back to Google till I found my three sources, really. I like how this one is kind of set up with bold titles. The bold titles kind of tell you, okay, well, this is what it's going to be talking about in this section, so it makes it even easier to say, just read what's important to you. You don't have to spend all that time reading information that you might not even need. I feel like the bold titles kind of tell you like everything that's going to be talked about. So bold titles are a good sign on a website. Okay, then if Google didn't have any good sources, I might actually try. I'd probably try searching different terms on Google first before trying to find a different source besides Google. Um, so I'd probably look back at my information to see if I even need another source or if I have enough information to keep going. Then after I gather information, probably would just keep. Okay. And then you can do your side by side. So say if you want to start. And I found okay, something that started off strong. So say if I read something and it was like, oh, that caught my eye, I'd think of a way to rephrase it but still make it sound similar.